Hey ratbags, it's Jade. You probably saw this morning a bunch of videos from me giving you the release date for SMALLAND Survive the Wilds. It's had a name change and it's actually coming out very soon. It's going to be available on the 29th of March. But I wanted to break down the trailer a little bit more and go over the Steam page, as it does look like it's had a revamp with new information, including PvP, how long it's going to be in early access, and then maybe what happens afterwards. So do leave a like, make sure to subscribe for the best in games like SMALLAND. Go and check out the rest of my Grounded content, and for Grounded fans, hold up before you start writing it's a copycat. I've explained a bunch of times how different SMALLAND might actually be from Grounded, and honestly you got nothing to lose in trying out a new game, as Grounded has kind of slowed down a little bit with updates. So let's go. So first off, they've changed the name. A bit surprised about that. Maybe SMALLAND was a little bit too twee. I kind of liked it, but it does add just a little bit more grown-upness to it. As soon as you put the word survive in anything, and especially the word wild, it conjures up maybe a Breath of the Wild and stuff like that. So this is one name change I quite like. Another game recently changed their name and I really did not like it at all. I won't mention it though. So it is going to be available on the 29th of March on Steam and the Epic Games Store. So what will we be playing once it hits on the 29th? So first off, early access, the usual blah blah. They want to take time to expand on their gameplay systems, work with the community to shape the game. It aims to be a big game in terms of depth and map size. They think that SMALLAND might be in early access anywhere between 6 months and a year. I would say that's probably looking at things optimistically. Most survival games at least are in early access 2 years nowadays. But for console fans, that's an important set of dates, because you probably won't be getting any kind of early access release until the game is complete. Now things may change, you never know. Valheim is launching on Xbox in the next few months, and that will be a game preview game. Valheim isn't scheduled to come out of early access for at least another 18 months possibly. So maybe SMALLAND might end up doing something like that, but I imagine they'll probably just stick to Steam and Epic Games Store for the first year, and then if it's ready for full release it will be. But yeah, I won't expect it to hit console until 2024 at least. Right now you can play it solo or fully co-op with 10 players. It'll have creatures, mounts, collectible armor sets and NPC sets within the towering world of SMALLAND. This is a new thing. PvP is toggleable by the server host for those that prefer an adversarial experience. Now I've covered SMALLAND quite a while, ever since it got first announced years ago. And I had the chance to sit down with one of the former developers of the game, the guy that actually made it rebirth from the forgotten concept or concept not finished by its previous developers before it got bought out and changed and actually made it into a proper game by Merge. At the time he was kind of hinting at stuff to do with PvP, but it wouldn't be a full PvP option. It would maybe be something like an arena or something that you'd be able to venture into if you want to. So it's a bit of a surprise to see that PvP can be now toggleable on. If you want SMALLAND to be a survival game a bit like Ark and have actual PvP between you and friends, then you go ahead and do that. One thing I will say is Valheim made this mistake in labelling this PvP, and a lot of players would assume that it would be big PvP added to it or more components added to it, when in reality it was just friendly fire. They've changed all the wording that ever mentioned PvP on the Valheim's game pages and stuff, and they do have the ability now where you can just turn it on and off personally. But yeah, that's a big difference here, is being able to control it by the server host. So you will be able to host your own servers, and that's another thing that might be cleared up. Again, they've been a bit cagey about how servers will work, but last time I chatted to them a few months ago, it seemed like there would be maybe official servers, and you would also be able to have the option to have your own server. And of course being able to play on your own offline in single player. But by the looks of things, it does look like it is going to be pretty much like Valheim, a single player or online co-op game with you and your friends. But again, it does look like that has changed, as there's no mention of multiplayer here in the little boxes. So to me it says it will be server hosted by you, players can drop in and drop out, but the worlds maybe won't go persistent. Definitely something we've got to examine a bit more, and I'll try and reach out to my contacts at Merge Games and see if we get more info on that. In the future they're going to be adding more creatures to battle and tame, more NPCs, more armor sets, more building parts and materials, more lore, more customization and further expansion of the game world. They haven't announced the price yet, but the early access price will be cheaper than the full retail price once it leaves early access. A little bit more blurb underneath the early access content. Become a vanguard for the small folk. Be one of the first to venture into the overworld to save your people, tame the lands, and uncover the mystery of why the giants disappeared, lest you share the same fate. Build up a safe haven in your great tree and take your sanctuary to other servers, or build outposts lower to the ground in the overworld below. Create a base, find decorations, and turn an antagonistic wild world into a place you can call home. So this is a really cool feature. And I've spoken about this a little bit. If you've ever played Fallout 76, you know you can pack up your camp and jump to another server, effectively taking your base with you. As long as no player is built exactly in the same position, you can plonk your base down anywhere you want. It's almost the same theory with SMALLAND, but it does look like trees are going to be the things that move. So you have to build in a tree if you want to take your base and go and have it join a friend's world or another server. That tree will then pop up in your friend's world, and you're not interfering with much going on the ground. No 100 bases littering everywhere, but you've still got your base and your friend's base now. It's really cool to see someone else trying to flesh this out a little bit and do something. The idea of joining people's worlds has always been a bit rubbish if you get kicked out of that world and you've got nothing to show for it. No progression, no items. But of course now, if you join your friend's world and you're getting resources, helping each other out, you can make upgrades to your base, you'll be able to hold stuff in your base, and presumably when you change, all that stuff will come with you. There might have to be some more controls against griefers, but for sure that is a really cool concept. Craft, stone, chitin, bone. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for you. Fashion scythes, hammers, arrows and more out your foes and work your way up the food chain one swing at a time. Survive. When there are no mandibles grabbing at you, you'll need to endure the temperature, weather, height and environment. A small stream and a crack in a rock is a crashing river and gaping chasm when you're only 2 inches tall. Fight. There's always something bigger. You'll need to prepare to take on your foes, knowing how they attack, what methods they employ and how to counter them, whether that means finding out their weaknesses or enhancing your strengths. So that's all pretty good stuff. Not too much mention about the faction stuff that I guess has been hyped up a little bit over the years. The idea that you'll have to help certain groups of bugs to get maybe recipes and unlock new armors, or do quests for certain NPCs. I'm kind of hoping that gets fleshed out a lot in early access, and so the world reacts. If you spend too much time helping the ants out, then maybe the spiders will kind of get pissed off and attack more. Or likewise, if you go help the spiders out too much, then maybe there's not enough to eat and they'll start turning on you as well. I don't know, something along them lines. There's a whole bunch of different factions already within the game for each type of creature. There's a variety of different spiders, lots of different ants as well, but there's some really cool stuff. I think in some of these new shots we get to see some stuff like this new windmill. I don't think I've seen that before properly. Obviously we've got the crafting benches and the furnaces. Looks like we've got a kiln and a furnace. The UI has been cleaned up once more. Definitely looks a lot more functional. Maybe typical squares, but I like it, it does the job. You can clearly see we've got health, stamina, nourishment and temperature. So it's not water, it's food and water rolled into one by the looks of things. A big part of SMALLAND is that the temperature, the weather, the seasons will affect gameplay. Rivers will freeze up, which means you'll be able to get access maybe to other areas, or certain things might be blocked up because of the weather. So if we break down the trailer a little bit as we watch it, obviously you can see the ruins of a park and a road here with dustbins. It looks pretty barren and large. I've always been a bit concerned about the imprint of humans that were here before, how much it would look a bit out of place if everything was too big, but it seems like they've got a big variety of biomes. You can see the rain falling here, the dragonfly, the beetle, remnants of the bottles as the seasons progress quickly into this area now with all the butterflies. This is obviously maybe the starter zone that you'll be going in the first stages, the wasps and stuff, and then the base building too. This is pretty brand new to me, the airship balloon, which was much loved from the original trailer. Well, I'll bet the game looks very different now. It does look like you can't directly fly instead of gliding and using obviously a grapple to get around, and taming creatures may require a little bit of stealth and give them the right kind of food. You will have to deal with cockroaches, red ants and brown ants, or fire ants at least, a stag beetle and plenty of horrifying spiders as well as wasps. You can see the balloon has taken us up to where our base might be in the tree, and this is where this will pop into your friend's world if you want to swap servers. And yeah, if it acts as an elevator to get up and down, that's really cool. It'll be early days for SMALLAND. It is going to be an early access game, so it might not be filled with as much content as you might think. But from what I can see, it looks like they've got a hell of a lot to do in terms of the bugs and creatures you encounter and tame, and definitely I think it's going to hold its own. Lots of different armors and weapons, that's always been one of its strong points that I've seen through development, how they'll influence and give you special buffs, as well as actually give you actual physical attributes that help you, like the wings to glide. So I'll be all over this to let you guys every bit of news, gameplay and guides when it launches. Until then, I'll see you ratbags later.